Having too many passions is the most insidious trap that catches smart people. You're gifted, you're curious, you invest the hours, you're disciplined in sport, you trained on the piano, you learn photography, music. But deep down, you feel that something is wrong. You have a feeling of progress, but your quality of life, and especially your bank account, do not reflect all the time spent upgrading yourself. You have fallen into the trap of dispersion. You're generating an illusion of growth. You progress across 20 subjects, but you never reach the leverage that could transform a skill into capital or real influence. I found the solution to this trap in a completely absurd place, a video game. When I was 13, I was obsessed with Devil May Cry on Dante Must Die mode. It wasn't fun. It was a brutal discipline, analyzing patterns, iterating. I really wanted to master the system, and I had no internet to help. It was 2001. What I was doing without knowing was applying a proven psychological concept: deliberate practice. It's not just training hard, it's a specific method theorized by psychologist Anders Ericsson, which forces you to step outside your comfort zone, methodically analyze your failures, and adjust based on immediate feedback. It's the science of mastery. Then a friend told me the sentence that changed everything: if you put that energy into the guitar, you would become a monster. I understood the key. Success is not talent. It is the transfer of methodology. I took this progression system and applied it to art, sports, and to business. But for this transfer to work, it is not enough to work hard. You must work in the right place, where the leverage is maximum. Today, we're going to do two things. I'm going to give you the arbitrage system I use to identify the single skill where your obsession must focus. I will show you how AI is the tool that will multiply the speed of this transfer. This obsession with progression, this energy that pushes you to master anything, can become a mental debt. If it is not directed, it leads you directly to the trap of dispersion. I even spent a phase of my life doing yo-yo and complex card tricks. These are hundreds of hours spent generating a skill that has no monetary or power translation in my life. You become truly good, yourself is satisfied, but you have replaced real growth with an illusion. This is the fundamental problem of too many passions. You're using your strength, discipline, to focus on what has no impact. There are many nuances to understand about this subject. The trap is, for example, to substitute financial progress, which is slow and abstract, with something that gives a reward faster. Why this trap so effective? It is based on two powerful psychological mechanisms. First, the need for competence, the why. Psychologist Deci and Ryan's self-determination theory explains that we have a fundamental psychological need to feel competent. Some sports, video games, and even some art can offer a quick feedback loop that feeds this need. Your ego is satisfied, but sometimes you are fulfilling this need in the wrong place. 2. Structured procrastination, the how. Next, you use this need for competence to engage in structured procrastination. This is a concept from philosopher John Perry. You accomplish real difficult tasks, like going to the gym 10 times a week, and yes, I know guys like this, to actually avoid the really important task that scares you, like building your business. You're not lazy. You're using your discipline as a shield. It's a perfect decoy. The ego is satisfied by the beloved constraint to avoid the real constraint. But this effort, as real as it may be, has zero financial impact. So you have this voice, this mental echo, telling you, I'm smart, I work harder than others, but you don't have income to support that. There's a gap between your ego as a high achiever and your bank account. This is cognitive dissonance. Theorized by Leon Festinger, it's the mental discomfort you feel when your beliefs, I'm competent, clash with your results, I'm broke. To reduce this discomfort, most people lie to themselves. They tell themselves that money isn't important, it's the system's fault. Most talented people follow the wrong path. They start with art, sports, or technique and hope that money will follow. Look at the CEO path. It is the opposite route. They start by making money. They first learn to manage, to make high-impact decisions, to generate capital, and to work where leverage is maximum. Once this capital is created, they can afford the luxury of being interested in photography, sports, or art. But they lack the art side. They lack the sports side. And if they have truly become masters in their field, they will recognize another master. A great chief can have a very interesting conversation with a piano virtuoso. So, if you're a master, the best in your domain, your value is not your technique, but your unique insight. If you address a big CEO, your value is not doing the work, but being the only person who dares to tell the truth. You bring an expert perspective, unaffected by hypocrisy or hierarchy. It is in this place that your mastery creates the most value. One thing to remember, just because you're excellent in one area does not mean you will automatically be good in another. Many specialists fall into a form of arrogance that makes them believe they understand everything. You want to achieve a real transfer of methodology to another skill. As Josh Waitzkin, author of The Art of Learning and former chess master, said, you can be an absolute master at chess and be unable to translate that to anything else. It's not the perfect quote, but it's close enough. So, the most painful question, how do you manage the fact that you have too many different passions? How do you save your energy from being scattered? The answer cannot be emotional. It must be pragmatic. You must transform intuition into measurable data. Take a Google Sheet and create a bubble chart. You will note for every activity in your life, including your passions and your obligations. Satisfaction on a scale of 1 to 10, real financial impact 1 to 10, time spent hours per week. This is a trial by fire. This is where you will see that the hours spent reading Roman history has a pleasure score of 9, a financial score of 1, and a time spent of 7 hours per week. And you see that your high leverage activity has a financial score of 8, but you only give it 2 hours per week, and maybe 3 in terms of satisfaction. A common trap is often sports. Many people put their purest energy into it 7 times a week. They have an immediate and very real feeling of progression. I leave a gym, I'm moving forward in my life. This is a loved constraint. And I love sports. I like to spend hours working on my street workout moves. But the truth, this feeling of physical progress is often a mental substitution for making financial progress. You believe you're disciplined because you like the physical constraint. But as soon as a real constraint arrives, a difficult sales call, the mental struggle of a business project with no immediate pleasure, the excuses appear. You must make a cold arbitrage. There is loved constraint and there is real constraint. If your analysis shows that you're putting all your energy into the former to the detriment of the latter, you must know what to stop. It's not just a matter of mindset, it's neurological training. Neuroscientists such as Andrew Huberman have popularized studies on a specific area of the brain, the anterior cingulate cortex. This is the seat of willpower and effort. This area is activated when you force yourself to do tasks you dislike. Science shows that this area literally grows when you voluntarily expose yourself to friction. You're physically strengthening the muscle of your willpower. Arbitrage might mean reducing sports to 4 times a week for some times, temporarily setting aside the guitar to reinvest those hours of high-level progression into the domain that gives you control, which can be anything, but usually something you don't want to do, the kind you know very important for your future. You must accept this unloved constraint for a determined period. But if your art or sport is the main priority in your life at this moment, if it's the only thing that makes sense to you, then you'll have to look for challenges within it too. I will talk more about this in another video. Now that you have identified where the maximum leverage is in your life, you should not approach it with tools from 20 years ago. AI is not the enemy, it is the leverage multiplier that CEOs did not have in 2010. It does not create the energy and discipline for you, but it multiplies the return on every hours you invest. So, your brain has taken years to develop a progression methodology in your passion, video games, guitar, sports. This is your mastery algorithm. Do not leave this algorithm in your subconscious. Extract the principles. Take your mastery algorithm and make it explicit. Ask a tool like Gemini to extract 3 key principles of your high-level progression. For example, deliberate iteration, adverse pattern analysis, failure management. Then, cross-application. Now ask the AI, apply these 3 principles to a 5-step financial growth plan. Or how do I use video game failure management to overcome the first commercial rejection? The AI does not do the mental effort. it allows you to jump over the valley of ignorance by giving you a direct and structured application model. You save months of trial and error. Then, go back to your Google Sheet. All the elements with low score for pleasure and impact. These are low leverage tasks, and if it can, it should be done with AI. You should never spend an hour doing what AI can do in 5 minutes. A summary of a long 50-page report into 3 key points, generating the first draft of a cold sales email, structuring unformatted data to make it actionable. The concept is simple. Your brain has limited attention span and willpower. Cognitive offloading is the art of using an external tool to externalize mental load, freeing up your internal resources for what really matters. A word of caution. I'm not talking about removing all friction and constraint. You must still do the short, important tasks and the long, important tasks. That is what will make the difference. But use AI to save time, not to replace your brain. And the biggest challenge is moving from skill to income. Start with niche analysis. Are you an excellent photographer? Ask the AI to analyze the market. What are the 3 most profitable niches in photography in 2025? And what are their pain points? Then create a structured offer. Have you identified the leverage? Ask it to structure your product. Draft a 6-module plan for an online course on your expertise. Or marketing. Use AI to generate 10 impactful hooks for your sales page. You apply your obsession with progression directly to the creation of monetizable value. And just to clarify, the latest popular N8N automation won't help you. The question is no longer wherever you have too many patients. The question is, where are you going to put those hours you are spending in the wrong place? And how are you going to inject the same energy of progression into it? You must accept the humility of a valley. This is where you progress the fastest, before realizing that the standard of true mastery is still out of reach. That is the price to pay. Choose to be competent. If you enjoyed this, subscribe. More content is coming soon.